It's time for today's face-off on Fox Soul. Challengers Quan LX and Big Angry Adams, ready to go blow by blow on those hot topics. Face-off on Fox Soul starts right now.
Precinct 1 deputy who was fired after being caught on camera pointing her gun at a man during a family dispute. Tonight, that man is sharing his story with Fox 26's Abigail Dye, including new audio recorded moments before the viral video started rolling.
You've probably seen this video. Now, former Precinct 1 deputy Brittany Brown is seen in uniform, off duty, pointing her weapon at Michael Evans.
Because she literally pulled me over in a regular car with a firearm. She just jumped out the car at that point, ran around to my driver door and planted the gun in my face. She's using her service pistol in her uniform to bully and oppress me.
Before this, Evans says he got in an argument with his then fiance, who is Brown's sister. He says he took his fiance's phone and drove off. And you said you did take the phone.
I just took the phone, which I bought. So I was gonna bring it back to her. I wasn't gonna keep her phone. I didn't need it. I just needed that problem to come to a halt and let's talk.
Not long after this happened, Evans says before he hit record, he called his sister, who recently found out that the call captured more audio of the incident.
She didn't answer, so I ended up on answer machine.
Anything I do is justified. I want the mother.
I'm on duty. Everything I do is just. But I offered her the phone thousands of times.
Precinct 1 launched an internal investigation that took about a month. And this week, that investigation concluded. The result, Brown being fired.
In this round, here's Quan LX.
Charles, that's a case where many across the country witnessed this viral video of this police officer from Precinct 1 Harris County Constable's Office in Houston, Texas, commit a crime on video. She decided that she would go and retrieve her sister's phone from her sister's fiance because they had a dispute while on duty, in uniform, in a patrol car. Pull this man over, Charles, put a gun in his face, threaten his life over and over again. You see the video. Make all type of racial threats and use racial slurs toward him. Threaten to kill him, then say, I'm in uniform. Anything I do is justified. Ain't nothing gonna happen to me. I got one question for you. If I'm not gonna get no long diatribe and then say I'm gonna pass it to you, I'm passing to you right now. Why in the hell is she not in jail?
Well, I imagine she's not in jail because she was law enforcement. I was under the impression, I could be wrong, that she was off duty at the time of the incident, although still in her uniform. Precinct 1 is, and this is Harris County specific, but the constables here in which we have several different types of law enforcement in the Houston area. We have the Sheriff's Department, which is a county entity. We have the constables, which are county entities, but they're not county-wide. They're precinct-based. We have, I believe, 8 precincts, right? Precinct 1 is downtown, and it also covers my home here, just outside of downtown. And they are not civil service like the police department and the sheriff's office. Of course, the police department, you have Houston Police Department. Every small city has their own. Whereas in a place like New York, you'll have a metro-wide police department. But so they conducted an internal affairs investigation and then fired her. If it was a civil service agency, it would have taken a year to fire her. They would have been suspended with, or she would have been suspended with pay probably, and it would have gone through this lengthy process. So from a lawyer that has dealt with these types of matters before, from that vantage, I will say firing her within a month was a very, very quick result. And I assume that she was taken off the streets until...
No, she was put on desk duty, Charles. She was put on desk duty.
Yeah,
yes.
It's taken off the streets. That's exactly.
No,
I mean, you're
no,
literally interrupting me to say that exactly what I said was right. Okay.
Why in the hell she ain't in jail?
Okay. Well, that's different. That the constable doesn't control that, right? That's going to be the district attorney's office and wherever the incident actually occurred. Now, in Texas, if you point a gun at someone and threaten them, well, that's aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, right? Now, I don't get you saying she made racial comments They're both black, right? Like you don't think it's
Oh, she made
racism
them,
or
Charles.
race based
She made them.
when a black guy stabs a
You
white
are a
girl,
former
the only white
judge.
girl on the train to death. Oh, that's
You're
not
you're a
race.
former
But
criminal defense
here
attorney.
you bring up race when they're both black.
But
So
Charles,
I don't get
you
that,
are a
right?
former criminal defense attorney and a judge.
Okay.
You and I
Okay.
both know this woman, yes, was off duty, but still in a uniform,
Who
still
said she
in the
was on
party
duty?
that's assigned to her, pulled him over, was not called to the scene, was not 911 to the scene.
It sounds like a crime.
Tracked him down, got out the car,
but it wasn't
by
racial.
force, detained
They're
him by
both black.
force,
Why are you trying to
and then
mislead
stuck
our
a
audience?
gun in his face and threatened to kill him.
That's
You know,
horrible.
like I know, had that been any other regular citizen who had pulled somebody over and stopped them illegally and detained them and stuck a gun in their face and threatened to kill them and bragged about getting away with it, they ass would be under the jail. Why is there a double standard when cops commit these same crimes and it's on video? It takes so long to charge them. I guarantee you no other citizen that was on video like that would take 30 days to be charged. And she still has not been charged.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's problematic that she wasn't charged. I think they do take their time to build a stronger case when it is a police officer because they don't want the attention and the egg on their face. I will say there are some nuances in Texas law, right, that I don't think apply here. If that was her cell phone that he stole, because he clearly stole his fiance's cell phone. Now you can say, oh, well, I was going to offer to give it back. He clearly, probably wanting to go through it, probably some jealousy or something. He clearly stole her cell phone and took off. And she called her sister and said, he stole my cell phone. Right. And the sister being the sister wanted to go retrieve it. Well, in Texas, if someone is stolen your property and the only reasonable way that you think you can resecure the property is the use of deadly force, which pointing a gun at someone is in fact the use of deadly force, right? Then it's actually allowed in a number of scenarios. But
it wasn't her property.
It extends to a third party seeking to recover it, right? So I don't think she really has much argument that she didn't commit a crime. I think she very much committed a crime. I'm predicting right now that I think, Shanti, I think our district attorney's office will most certainly seek an indictment and charge her. I think you're absolutely right. I know the show's not supposed to do this. I think you're absolutely right. The only reason she wasn't charged now is because she's a cop and they cross their T's and dot their I's when they go after cops. But we do live in Houston, Texas, and do have a DA's office that loves to go after cops. So it's kind of falling on deaf ears for me when you're saying, oh, yeah, they're taking their time. But I'll tell you right now, that video was egregious. It wasn't racial. They were both black. I can't believe you said that. But I think she's going to get charged, and I think she'll get fully prosecuted. And I think her plea bargain options will be far less than those if it was just a citizen doing it to another citizen.
I think a lot of citizens would disagree with you and question just how sincere the district attorney's office is in prosecuting corrupt and bad cops. We all know common sense.
They're very aggressive about it.
But wait a minute. Ray Charles.
It's a Soros-supported
Ray Charles can see what's going on here, and Stevie Wonder could write the script. Charles, you and I both know if this was a video of you or I on a video captured by a citizen doing the same exact thing, we'd have been in jail the next day. You and I,
no video from me because I'd have made sure if I was criming, there were no videos involved.
And you and I both know, Charles, that we wouldn't put him on damn desk duty, my friend. This case should be prosecuted.
Fox would fire us that day, right?
In a heartbeat.
Can we get an affirmation from the eye in the sky?
And we'd be locked up that day. And we'd be locked up by local law enforcement. This woman was out of control, completely out of control.
And Belize hanging out with Jay Prince just like that.
And for the sake of transparency, I don't think Jay would have you on the island with him. But
I'm
for the
not
sake
saying he would, but I would get my own place nearby and then hang out.
I think I can get to the island quicker than you can.
But I will you don't understand that this white man should be charged. But I will tell you, I'd be out of the country. If I did something so crazy like that, I'd be gone, right? She deserves to be in jail. I mean, she'll post bond most certainly because we got a revolving door at our criminal jail here, our county jail. But yes, you're right. Quanell, absolutely. She needs to be in jail. I'm glad that Constable Rosen fired her. I'm glad that it's not being covered up. The man was very intelligent in making the video because absent the video, she'd still be working,
And for
right?
the sake of
And that,
transparency, this is a case I've been working on that I've been directly involved
which
with,
side? The cop
and
side or the?
fighting on behalf of the victim in this case, not the cop.
Oh, that's why you
You
call
can
it
tell,
racial,
and
because
you
you're
can
trying
tell
to get
from
that
my
civil rights money,
commentary,
trying
based
to
on
get
my
that taxpayer
commentary.
money in
No,
this
no,
family dispute.
this is a violation of human and constitutional rights. That's what this is, and this is a
Trying to get
violation.
that taxpayer dollar. All of us in Houston, in Quanell's estimation, should have to pay because a woman got a call from her sister, pulled out a gun, and chased a guy down. She was off duty, right? This is her acting on her own.
No, I
With
believe the
none
man
of
has
us
a legitimate.
taxpayers should be paying for it.
I
I
believe he
knew
has.
there was an
I believe
angle,
he has.
Quanell.
I
I
believe
knew
he has
when
a
you said,
legitimate
"Oh,
lawsuit.
this is racism." Oh, you mean the black woman doing
I
something
believe
criminal
he.
to the
I
black man
believe
is
he. I
racial?
believe he has a
No,
legitimate lawsuit.
it's a
I believe he has
family
a legitimate
beef
lawsuit.
trying to
I believe
reach
he
in
has a
us
legitimate lawsuit.
taxpayer pockets,
Charles,
right?
I
For
believe he has
this
a legitimate
woman
lawsuit.
that should be in jail. I agree. I knew there was an angle, Quanell.
So, I would say this. We, dear brother, this man should be locked up. And I say to you, brother, in quote.
Hey, man, I just got called brother by
You're trying to lift the vaccine mandate in Florida, and your department and you did not even do a projection as to how this could impact public health. So you have not prepared hospitals in the Florida counties most at risk with the best treatments for any outbreaks of measles, mumps, rubella, whooping cough, polio, and you have not looked into how many kids might now get these preventable diseases. That's what you're saying?
No, that's what you said. What I'm saying is that it's an issue of right and wrong in terms of whether parents should be able to have ultimate authority over what happens to their kids' bodies.
I have to say, I'm kind of shocked that you have not done any sort of projection or data analysis of what this is actually going to literally mean for kids in Florida. But let me just say,
in this round, here's Charles Big Angry Adams.
All right, Quanell, that was the Surgeon General of Florida, conservative, Ladapo, who was talking with Jake Tapper over there on CNN about his decision to end vaccine mandates almost universally across the board for children to do things like attend public school in Florida. I think it's absolutely insane. I think it's now largely downstream from the government lining up with many government officials and kind of compelling the medical community to lie, or those that were profit oriented. There were many people that made quite a bit of money off of a COVID vaccine, but we all remember the lie, right? We remember the lie that if you got the shot, that you wouldn't get COVID, you couldn't pass COVID, you couldn't communicate it. It was all a lie, right? We had a government that was telling us there was no cocktail, there was no other solution, there was no way to treat this other than this vaccine. They called ivermectin a very successful, very long time drug. We're calling it a horse dewormer. And we're doing all of these things, right? Which were pretty evil on the government's part. And it looks like to make some people billions and billions of dollars. Right. And so we saw all this nonsense. We saw these people being compelled to get these mRNA vaccines that haven't been subjected to the rigor that is typically required for vaccines to be mass produced and to be mass required, to have these mass mandates. And in fact, we're seeing them given to all kind of people. I think that was wrong. But equally, I think it's absolutely insane to talk about like mumps and rubella and other very well researched, decades effective measles vaccines, other things that have allowed the world to end things like polio. The epidemic of polio is largely gone, and at least in the Western world, the first world. All kinds of diseases have been eradicated through the efficacy of vaccines. And it's absolutely insane because, listen, Joe Rogan recently talked about how prior to the pandemic, he wasn't much of a conspiracy theorist. And after the pandemic, he just kind of believes everything. Obviously, that was tongue in cheek, but that's how so many Americans are. And there's a lot of people on the right that are exploiting those fears that were created by the government lying to us to now make irrational, crazy decisions that don't just threaten the health and safety of their children, but threaten the health and safety of immunocompromised children all over Florida. I think it's absolute idiocy.
Charles, I think it's perhaps a long time overdue. And I believe that the Surgeon General of Florida is going in the right direction to some degree. I believe that vaccinations, some of them are useful, but I also believe that some of them are harmful. And I
Which
also
ones do you
believe
think are
that,
useful? Which ones do you think are harmful?
let me get to that for 1 second.
Okay. I bet you
There's,
don't.
there's documented proof that the vaccine that they gave Black people in America for smallpox and diphtheria and malaria and polio, we later found out factual evidence that they were giving Black children in foster care fake vaccinations and actually giving them these diseases, giving them cancer and giving them AIDS. It is a fact, Charles. Google what I'm asking to you.
You're saying
right
the
now.
American government. Now,
Yes.
I do know that
Let
in
me
the
finish.
40s, there were some horrible
Oh,
studies
yes, yes.
that were
It's in the
targeted
80s.
at
In the
children
80s and
in
90s,
foster
yes.
care,
In the 80s
white
and
and black,
90s.
in that you
Oh.
saw some soldiers,
Let
Black
me
soldiers,
finish.
but I
Let me
believe you're
finish.
engaging
And
in
no, in
absolute
the 80s, no.
make-believe.
Google this.
So they were
Black
giving Black kids
children,
AIDS. The
Black
evil government was
children
giving Black kids
in,
AIDS.
in the 1980s in foster care was given
Okay.
HIV
You understand
virus
there's not a
and
vaccine for
experimented with
AIDS
them.
now,
Listen to
so
me. They gave them the HIV virus, experimenting on them. Yes, do your research. Now, you want to talk about information that's held from the public.
we're
You want to talk
talking
about information
about
that's going national on the
talking about
media. Let's
mandated
talk about the Black
vaccines
children
in
that were
Florida
given these
schools.
fake vaccinations. Let's talk about Black men in prison who were given these vaccinations in prison, which were a lie. They were given cancer. So now,
when did
Charles,
that happen?
when you
When?
back up in the
When and where?
1950s and 60s, Charles,
Okay,
50s and 60s,
right.
but in the
This
80s,
is
it took
2025,
place.
Cornell,
But
and
in
we're
the
talking about
1980s, it took place.
Florida saying that no
Also,
kids have to get
Let me
vaccines.
say
Can we
this.
talk about that subject, not
So,
your crazy stuff
now,
that you
what
always want to bring
Florida is
out
going to
from
do,
yesteryear?
what Florida's going to do, because you don't want the facts to come out, they're going to allow parents
I'm
to
interested in
have a
facts, not your
decision in the
make-believe.
process. Because right now in Florida and many other states, parents do not have a decision in opting out whether their children receive these vaccines or not. And Charles,
Okay.
some of these vaccines have been proven if you're giving too many to a child, especially newborn children, receiving up to 8 and 9 and 17 different vaccinations at birth is
Kids
too
to go to
much.
school. We're
It's
not talking
too
about
much.
infants.
And then, Charles, we have to do greater research on these vaccines, like the COVID vaccine was a lie. That if you got this vaccine, it would really help in stopping
Well, I
transmission
agree,
disease.
but
These are
we're
lies.
talking about basic,
But Charles,
regular vaccines for school-age
but
children.
also,
Right? Can you tell me which of those vaccines that you think it's
the
okay to
polio
not
vaccine,
require and send kids to
polio
school
vac-
that
the-
could possibly
my
kill
children
that are
never received
immunocompromised?
the polio vaccine. My children
They're
never
not doing the
received
polio vaccine. They haven't done a
the
polio
smallpox
vaccine in
vaccine.
America since
Charles,
like
that
71, I
measles,
think.
that measles
We
vaccine,
talk about
we never received,
2025,
Charles.
Cornell.
And I'm telling you, a lot of those vaccines are outdated
Which
and
ones?
antiquated. And the
Which
reason why
regular
they're still pushing the
vaccines?
mandate, they're pushing the mandate because the pharmaceutical
How about
companies
measles,
are
Cornell?
making
Can you
hundreds
agree
of
that we should get a
billions
measles
of
vaccine?
dollars,
How
hundreds
about
of billions
measles,
of
Cornell?
dollars, Charles, in
How about
making
measles?
these vaccines.
How about measles? Is measles an okay vaccine?
I believe, yes, measles is.
Okay, well, they're not going to require it.
But I'm
Isn't
going
that
to say
a
this.
problem?
It should not be mandated on the parent to make a child receive it. No.
Okay, but should it be mandated if they want to go to school with other kids?
Now, this is what you do. You have schools set up for vaccinated kids. Then you also have a school for unvaccinated kids.
Why can't you just give a straight answer, Cornell?
Because,
instead
Charles,
of talking about, oh, this happened in
don't rob parents of
1930.
the right to have the option. Don't rob the parents of the right to have the option. And let me say this. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan.
Where is an option? Don't send your kid to
every
school.
Nation of Islam member and every black person in America and around the world, he told us, do not take that COVID vaccine. He said there's not been a long enough study and research into the ramifications and long-term effects. And guess what? He was absolutely right. And it was the late Dick Gregory who discovered in 1970, and in the 70s, that they were giving black children in Chicago vaccinations of SV40 that turned out to be a virulent form of a cancer causer.
Okay. Again, 2025. We're talking about kids going to
And
public
that
schools
same devil from
that are not
1950s,
vaccinated.
60s, 70s, and the 80s, that same devil exists today.
Who's the devil?
The devil is the wicked mindset of the rulers who would put wealth
Who
before
are the
health
rulers?
and poison
Just say
innocent
it.
people
Just say
in
white
the name
people,
of
Cornell.
vaccinations when
Just
those
say you're crazy.
vaccinations
Oh,
are
you're
nothing
crazy,
more than
Cornell.
poisoning an
Oh,
entire
you're
people.
crazy. The evil whitey. It is your rhetoric
Excuse
that led
me.
to that poor girl getting stabbed on the train in Charlotte,
No,
right?
Charles.
This demonization of
Many
white people.
people
And
are waking up in America that you
sometimes
don't
you're
need
brave
those
enough to
vaccines.
actually say it, but other times you use coded language.
You said
rulers,
something
as
that
if
was
all
powerful,
white
though.
people are getting together and having
I said
meetings.
nothing
and
about
saying,
white people,
hey, how can we
but it was
oppress
white
black
people
guys?
conducting those illegal experiments.
How can we,
It was
we,
white
we had a
people
white
giving
meeting,
black
Quanell.
people
We
those
had a
wicked
white meeting
vaccines
and said,
and giving
hey,
us AIDS
how
and
can
giving
we
us
repress
cancer and
Quanell
giving us gonorrhea
specifically?
and giving us syphilis. White people were doing that.
You
That's
got,
a
hey,
fact.
Quanell, if you got syphilis, you got it on your own,
No,
and you should start acting
Tus-
right.
the
If
Tuskegee
you got
experiment
gonorrhea,
was
you
based
got
on
it out
a
in them
study
streets,
by the U.S.
Quanell,
Army.
and you should start acting right. At least jimmy it up,
The
right?
U.S. Army
At least
gave
wrap
black
it up,
men syphilis.
Quanell. Come on.
The U.S.
That's it for the Face Off on Fox Soul. We'll catch you next time.